Hey Simply Family, Advent Day 12. And now we're in the New Testament, we're in the Gospels. The first Gospel we want to look at is going to be the Gospel of John. And in chapter 8, and we're just going to look at one tiny little verse. We're going to do a bit more in John 8 as we go on for the next few days. But I just want to take out one verse. And right in the middle of that chapter, it says this in verse 12. Again, Jesus spoke to them saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. I am the light of the world. That God will illuminate our lives. And it gives us this picture of, I don't know whether you've ever been in a room where it's just dark, or you've gone out for a walk, say out where there are no road lights, maybe out onto the moors, and you've decided not to use a torch. Now, the classic thing we say when we go out as guys is your eyes will adjust. And to some extent they will if the moon is shining. But if it's one of those overcast days and there's very little light shining, it's so hard. You stumble, you trip. Now, there was one time when we were out on a men's weekend and we had done this little night crawl along the river. It was dark, classic, turn your lights off. Some people did have lights on, some didn't. And there I was walking along and suddenly, whoom, I disappeared down a sinkhole. Thankfully, it wasn't too wide. My arms caught the side, literally here, and I was able to pull myself out. But imagine I didn't. Imagine that sinkhole was wider. Imagine that I couldn't have grabbed the sides. Imagine I just disappeared and no one even saw me because it was so dark. You see, when we walk in the darkness, it's really hard for us to navigate the way forward. It's really hard for us to see the different traps and pitfalls and problems. It's hard for us to see where we're going and what even direction we're going in. And today, the message that Jesus wants to bring to us is that he is the light of the world. That when we have Jesus, when we follow Jesus, there should be no darkness. Now, that can be used in many different ways. It can be darkness as in there's no evil or sin, because Jesus cleanses us from all sin and unrighteousness. So he makes us clean. So we're now full of light. Remember the passages where it talks about, your eyes being the lamp of the body. And if your eyes are on good things, then your whole body is full of light and good things. So it has that truth that as we follow Jesus, we walk in the light, we walk free from sin. But I also believe it gives us this other truth, which relates to the analogy that I gave you. I believe he helps us to know where we're walking and enables us to navigate this life more effectively. That where, even though around us there's darkness and difficulty, that he can shine the light and show us which way to go. So that could be trying to work through different situations or problems. There might be stuff you need to sort out in your home, or decisions that you need to make about school or work or friendships, or whatever it might be. This truth is that Jesus is the light of the world, that whoever follows him will not walk in darkness, that we will know not only the forgiveness and the light of sin, but we will also know his will and what way to walk and what decisions to make. And the real encouragement is the more that we keep in step with the light, the more we'll be able to navigate this, what can seem quite a treacherous world. We've got crazy things going on. Stuff's changing all the time. No one knows where it's going with the economy. We could be weighed down with fears and panics and trying to sort bits and pieces out. Yet Jesus promises us that he is the light in this darkness. It doesn't matter how difficult things seem to get or how enclosed or dark the world might look. God's light shines brighter, and that he will help us to navigate life. And you might feel sometimes that you seem to walk and then you trip and fall, and then you walk again and then maybe you trip and fall, or you walk again and you bump into something. That's, metaphorically, that's what it feels like as you go through life. And I tell you that's because often it's because the times that we're walking straight without any obstacles is when we're walking with and in Jesus. And his light enables us to know and navigate the path ahead. But the times we stumble or fall are the times when we've been distracted, or we've got our eyes off of Jesus, or we've got our eyes on self, or we've decided to run after something other than him, and we stumble and fall. The encouragement that I have for us today is to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus. Trust and believe he is the light, that he will show you things that might come across your path to avoid, doors that might look open that you can go around and ignore, stumbling blocks, issues. It could be sin issues or decision issues. He will show you and help you to navigate those things. He is the light of the world. I am the light of the world, Jesus said. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Jesus promises life and life to the full, even in the midst of a broken and dark world, because he is the light of men. Trust him, follow him, and let him illuminate your paths today.